The stadium was packed. 10,000 voices roared as one. Philippine flags waved like a sea of red, white, and blue. Then she walked off the court. The party was over. The stands emptied. The silence was deafening. Toronto had fallen in love with a champion, and when she left, she took the crowd with her. Toronto, August 2026. The National Bank Open was supposed to be just another WTA 1000 event. A prestigious tournament, yes, but one that had never seen anything quite like this. Alex Eala arrived riding the biggest wave of her young career. Just 1 week earlier in Washington, she had become the first Filipino player to win a WTA Tour-level singles title, defeating Jessica Pegula in the final. That victory had transformed Eala from an emerging prospect into a national sporting sensation. In Toronto's Filipino community, over 270,000 strong, according to the 2021 census, embraced her accordingly. For weeks before the tournament, they had been calling the tournament offices. Not days, not weeks, months. When does she play? Who does she play? Where does she play? My mother knows her uncle's sister's brother cousin, tournament director Karl Hale recounted, his voice carrying a mixture of amazement and bewilderment. They were so excited to have her. When Eala's schedule was finally confirmed, the phones exploded. Tickets vanished in 30 minutes. All 10,077 seats at SoBi Stadium sold out instantly. The Wednesday night session, an early round match that rarely sells out, became the hottest ticket in the tournament's history. Hale revealed something that stunned the tennis world. Approximately 80% of ticket requests were tied to Eala's appearance, not the tournament, not the other top-ranked players. One player. 80% of the demand. Eala-Mania had officially arrived. The roar from the rare early tournament sellout crowd of 10,000 plus following match point of Eala's first-round win over Alicia Parks surely could be heard across York University's sprawling campus. Eala soaked it all in, putting her hands in a heart shape to pay tribute to another special crowd in a year full of special moments. Diane Castillejo, the veteran Filipino journalist, called it a super wild Filipino crowd, the loudest I have ever heard. It felt like it was in the Philippines. Incredible. And the phenomenon only grew. By the end of the week, Toronto had been transformed. Fans arrived hours early. Some wore customized Alex Eala shirts. Families attended their first ever professional tennis match just to see her. Philippine flags hung from railings like a World Cup match. One supporter even showed up wearing a dinosaur costume wrapped in the Philippine flag, becoming an unexpected social media sensation. The chants of "Let's go Alex" shook the stadium so loudly that the in-arena introduction was nearly drowned out. Every winner sent the crowd into another frenzy. Every break of serve sounded like championship point. Even the tournament food offerings were reshaped. In a gesture that left thousands of fans in tears, organizers added Filipino chicken adobo to the menu halfway through the tournament. It was the first time in event history that a food offering was added just because of a player. It's the first time I've ever heard of a tournament halfway through the tournament add a food offering just because of a player, Hale told Tennis Channel. The adobo wasn't just a meal, it was a symbol. A recognition that the Filipino community had transformed this tournament, a gesture that said, "We see you, we appreciate you, you belong here." The match was over. Belinda Bencic had won, 6-4, 6-0. Eala's magical run had come to an end. The Swiss veteran, who had survived an extraordinary 3-hour, 24-minute battle with Taylor Townsend in the previous round, produced one of the most ruthless sets of tennis seen in Toronto all week. The first set was competitive. Eala displayed the aggressive baseline tennis that had carried her to Washington glory and deep into Toronto, but Bencic gradually began taking control. The Swiss veteran's ability to redirect pace and take the ball early prevented Eala from establishing the rhythm that had made her so dangerous throughout the tournament. Then, everything changed. A second set demolition. Bencic swept Eala 6-0. The crowd that had been so electric throughout Eala's Toronto run suddenly had very little to cheer about. As one fan reaction put it, the second set was an absolute beatdown. Eala's tank seemed empty. She had been fighting through an ankle injury scare against Caddy McNally in the previous round, barely surviving 6-3, 5-7, 6-4. The accumulated mileage of 8 matches in roughly 12 days was beginning to show. The fatigue was undeniable. The exhaustion was visible. I knew it was my last time, the last time that I was going to be out on that court for a while, Eala said after the match. She gazed at the crowd, waved, picked up her bags, and walked toward the exit one last time. The fans gave her a roaring standing ovation. Eala turned and marched backwards, waving a few more times before finally walking off center court.
No Eala, no crowd. The debate erupted almost immediately on social media. Philippine Tennis posted an image carrying the headline, "With Alex Eala's loss, the Canadian Open lost its crowd." The caption suggested that it remained to be seen whether tickets for the remaining matches would also sell out. The discussion drew mixed reactions. Some users pointed to Eala's ability to attract Filipino fans. Others criticized what they described as an excessive focus on a single player. "Be a fan of the sport, not just the team or athlete," one user wrote. Another defended Eala's supporters, arguing that large fan bases contribute to the commercial success of sporting events. "It's the fans who are bringing in the money," one commenter said. One fan captured the sentiment perfectly. "I'm happy how far you came, Alex Eala. Good job. I can't believe in those 3 days in a row you made sold out the stadium. I'm amazed." The support was undeniable. The Filipino community had proven that they would show up, but Eala's exit had taken the soul out of the tournament. The stands were emptier. The energy was different. The party was over. Even Bencic, the Swiss veteran who had just silenced the crowd, acknowledged the moment. "I know most of you guys were cheering for Alex, but I still have to say it was very nice for me to play in front of you all. Thank you so much for the great crowd tonight." The pro-Eala crowd, gracious in defeat, showered Bencic with cheers.
Karl Hale had called Eala an absolute blessing to the sport of tennis in our tournament. But what he didn't realize was that the blessing was mutual. Eala had brought joy to his tournament. She had filled his stadium. She had created a movement. And in return, he had given her community something priceless: recognition, a place at the table, adobo, lumpia, sinamak, chicharron. "It's nice to see tennis be a medium for them to come together and kind of celebrate the things they love," Eala said. "I am kind of just like a drop in the ocean when it comes to Filipinos and their pride for their culture and where they come from. I do a lot to kind of represent my country, and I'm very proud of it. But you see, the stadium was full of people who do the same thing, right? I guess that just shows you what kind of a community we are, and what kind of people we are, and how supportive we are of each other." For a community that had long felt invisible in the sport of tennis, this was validation. Home. Belonging. Coco Gauff, the world number 4, understood what was happening. "I think the demographic that Alex is bringing to the sport of tennis is so great, and I think all of us should embrace that," she said. "To just see a nation of people who maybe don't always feel represented in this sport really see themselves out there, I think is incredibly inspiring." Venus Williams, Eala's doubles partner, called her a world star. "She's just incredible, and besides the fact of her tennis, she's an incredible person, well-spoken, and just an impressive young lady."
Eala left Toronto with more than just wins. She left with an experience she would never forget. "The atmosphere this whole week has been just incredible," Eala said, her voice thick with emotion. "It's hard to describe to other people the feeling of being in that stadium full of the fans and all the love. I'm super grateful for the experiences that I've had here in Toronto. It's been an amazing debut. I'll carry these memories with me for a really long time." The Canadian Open would never be the same, and neither would tennis.